The wireframe is just like a basic looking website with not much in it. And if you have a website like that, it's not, if someone sees it, they're not going to recommend it. It's like having a shop without any products in it. No one's going to go into your shop, into your restaurant, if it's got nothing to offer. So what I recommend doing is using the research that you did beforehand and the content you found that was useful to you, repurpose that to make it unique, and then include that content on your website before you start marketing. And then start creating content, maybe write a blog post, write an article, and one of the best on-page factors is the title tag. Every page has a title tag, and use that title tag to contain where possible the keywords that you're trying to target for the page. Another thing I like to do is let people comment on my blog post or my article, because what this does is it leverages the long tail of search. Do you all know what the long tail is? The long tail is like the keywords that not many people use, but it makes up a large percentage of the number of people that come to my website. So I like to leverage that, because we all talk in a unique way. I speak with English words, and you guys speak with your American words, and Canadians speak differently as well. So we all talk differently, and people use those different words to come to your website. So if they can comment and ask questions within the comment section of your website, you'll tend to get a lot more people coming. So as I was saying, links.
David, that's a really advanced application. You have used it, I know. How is it, just numerically, how has that helped you?
Oh, it's been miraculous. I mean, a lot of people tend to concentrate on the head terms, the big keyword terms that bring a lot of traffic to the website. But what they don't realize is that might maybe make up 10 or 20% of the total volume of searches. And the long tail is where the real volume is. Not many people search for these keywords, but in total they make up such a big proportion. And when I implemented that strategy on my website, we saw probably a 300% increase in the number of visitors to my website. So it's a really effective technique, and it's really easy to rank for them as well, because not many websites are trying to be competitive with those keywords as well.
And you were highly ranked with most competitive phrases.
That's the thing.
So it's a real.
That's the thing. The competitive keywords are really hard to rank for, because a lot of websites are trying to target them. No one's really trying to target the longer tail, and as a result, it provides a great opportunity. It's like trying to jump over a 6-foot pole. It's very hard to do. Why don't you just step over a 1-foot pole instead? And there's so much more traffic that people just don't seem to realize that.
And one thing I wanted to add about that, I remember at the last meeting that we had, the gentleman, I can't remember his name, but what he did was he made a pie chart, if you recall, that showed what percentage of traffic came from the short tail keywords and what percentage came from the long tails. And when you put it in a pie chart form, it becomes very clear how it could be to your advantage to chase those long tail keywords. So I think he was getting something like 85 or 90% of his traffic just from the long tails, and just a much smaller percentage from the short tails.
That's it. There's so much more traffic, and it's easier to rank for. So why not take advantage of that? So as I was saying, links are the fuel that brings your website ranking. So how do you get links to your website? There are a variety of ways to do it. If you have a blog, it can be different compared to if you have an e-commerce store. So I'm going to go over a few of the methods that I use. They might not all be applicable to your website, but I'm going to go over a few. So I like to get links as soon as I can to my website. A lot of people think that the age of your website plays a factor in how Google ranks it. I personally think it's the age of the links to your website. They might be related, but that's why I like to get links as quickly as possible. And one of the best techniques I find to do that is to use testimonials. So if I'm building a website, I'll go to maybe Elance or Odes and find a designer, and I'll make sure they have a portfolio and a website. And I'll ask them beforehand. I'll say, if I like your work, can I be featured in your portfolio? Most of the time, they're very happy to do that, because we're giving them a good review, and that also gives me a link back to my website and starts the clock ticking.
Another question, what's ELAN and Odesk?
So ELANs and Odesk are websites that bring contractors who are willing to do work for you to people who need their services, basically. So
David, what was the second one?
Odesk.
Odesk,
Yeah.
okay.
And you can do this with designers, you can do it if you're looking for a programmer, copywriters, or logo designers. It's a great way of getting easy, quick links that stand the test of time. So when it comes to link building, it's not a good idea to have big spikes in your link building. So if you start your website up and in the first month, say you have 50 links, and then the second month you have 0 links, and then the third month you have another 50 links, it doesn't look good when it goes up and down like that. What I like to do is have a smooth link building curve. And I found an effective strategy of smoothing that curve out is to use directories, because directories are very easy to get links from. So maybe if I'm having trouble in the second month getting links, I'll use them directories to smooth out that curve. And directories vary in price and quality as well. There's a few here on the list, ranging from free, from Demos, which is can be quite difficult to get into, but it's a very quality directory ranging up to say $300 for yahoo.com and business.com.
I thought business.com was closed.
Is it?
It's been months since I checked, but
I haven't submitted the site in the last year actually. So.
Is it bad to be listed in some directories? Can't you be penalized?
Yeah, I mean, some directories have over the last maybe 4 or 5 years got a little spammier. Sometimes you see these directories that are called maybe SEOdirectory.com.
Yeah,
and the whole purpose is
those.
to get people to improve their ranking. So I like to stick to the better quality ones.
Yeah,
So
so
lo-
I think it's ones that were associated with the Link Exchange and like these, like the Triangle Link Exchange,
Yeah.
and Search King and all of the disasters.
So I guess as long as you stick with the big names, you should be kind of safe.
That's it.
If you go to a directory and all it talks about, all it writes about, all it presents to you is how being listed in the directory is going to help your ranking in Google, go somewhere else. if the directory is there for people to actually use, who are
Gotcha.
interested in
Yeah.
what the directory contains, then it's one you want to be listed in.
Especially if it's like a topical local business directory that's really strong.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, you
once
can-
again.
So they push their, submit to us, we'll help you rank
I
in
got
Google,
you.
as well.
Yeah,
go somewhere else.
My question is, how much traffic will you get from these kinds of systems?
Yeah, to be honest, you probably won't get too much. Yahoo, I've had a bit of traffic from, but as I think Dan was saying, if you target niche directories as well, they can be a good source of traffic. But I'm primarily talking from a ranking perspective. I mean, it's great if you can get the added bonus of getting traffic there as well, but primarily I'm talking more from a ranking benefit.
So if you're kind of ranked highly in the words you want to be ranked at, like, it's a waste of money.
I wouldn't say it's a waste of money. It diversifies up your link profile, and you can never really have too much authority, I think, in your website. It depends. I think you have to work out the ROI. So if it makes sense from your business, if you have a high margin product, it might make sense to increase the authoritiveness of your website. If you can't really
return on investment.
afford from a return on investment standpoint to do that, then
It's cheap
it's not worth it.
It's cheap to get us some directories. Good idea.
I'm really
Like
cheap.
$2,000 bucks.
You
You
start
return
out
on your
I'm
investment
really
might not be
cheap.
that good.
Now, I've
Me too.
developed a lot of websites, and I've used the directories. And I'm so cheap that $40, I don't want to spend it if I don't have to. Now, I haven't done this in 2 years, I have to say this, but I looked at, I don't know, 15, 20 main directories of the ilk that you were describing
Yep.
just now. Well recommended, long history. A lot of people said these directories give you strength. I went through them real hard because I am so cheap. And what I found were that a bunch of them were given no value whatsoever to a bunch of phrases that I was taking into account. So I'd be a little careful about some of these. Now, I was looking 2 years ago, so since I last did that, maybe a year and a half. But some of those aren't working well anymore, and or they're working very spotty. But I would also agree, let me also say this, having done that with a couple of rather new websites in some rather non-competitive areas, Soon as I got a couple of those directory links up, bingo, had nice rankings. Relatively non-competitive types of phrases. But I would look at it because $40, $100, $90, maybe totally worthless today.
I think you make a great point there. I think that's what SEO is all about to me, is diversification. Not one strategy will probably help you rank, but it's sum of parts approach. And if you can maybe use directories, use testimonials, and all these other approaches, not only does some of them help, but it also helps to help your link profile as well. So if someone from Google was to have a look at it, directory links, or quality directory links, are still considered a good source of link.
David, you mentioned at the beginning about find out who the influencers are in the market that you're going after. So, you know, how about if I use one of these tools that tells me where, you know, the top ranking sites, I could go look at their site and find out where they have links from, and if it's coming from some of these directories, then maybe that's where I want to be. How about that approach?
These ones are the bad directories.
Oh, those are the bad ones?
No, I'm saying, which ones are you talking about? The one
Well, I'm just saying, whoever's the spot that I want to be, why don't I look at where they're getting their links from?
That's,
You know, with some tool, and then
That's the reason.
consider getting listed in those places,
but
be
I'd be
they
very careful
directory or.
of copying the competitor completely, because they might have a lot of authority, like you were saying, and they tend to be able to get away with a lot more. It's like a big brand can get away with a lot unless they're not making Google look stupid. So don't just, I wouldn't just copy them blindly, because if your site's new, it might not be as established as they are, and you might not get away with what they can get away with.
Well, what you might find in that would be the industry-specific directories, which aren't suspect particularly, and would be very valuable.
Yeah.
Our regional directories.
Oh, yeah.
They're near you.
Okay, I'm going to move on.
That's exactly how I.
So another
my
source
site on
I
there.
find
Like five
of
little
links
companies.
is any place that
had
you're a member
a lot
of.
of
Lots
links.
of people,
Or was it just a whole
Bruce, you're a
domain?
member of the Chamber of
It's
Commerce, I
surprisingly
think,
for me,
and like industry trade
was like,
associations,
they had
they tend to
links,
list
but
the
had-
names of their
I don't
members,
know
the
why
phone
they were- I don't
numbers,
know why they were
and
like
also the websites as
most of them
well.
were older
Again, these are the
domains.
kind of links that stand the test of time.
Goes to show.
And Mark's still
That's a
remember the
good- that's a
church,
good
like you do a lot of
strategy.
volunteer work as well. So a lot of times they have listings of their members, and all of these might not apply to you, but they tend to be good sources. So what I'd recommend doing is looking out for these opportunities. I recently joined a co-working space, and again, they list all the members in that co-working space, and meetup.com. Any of the guys who are presenting today, they get a link back to their website. So all these are opportunities where you can get a link back to your website and then improve your rankings. You can also sponsor events. Meetup.com allows you to sponsor this meetup. I think we were talking to Rockland's Barbecue about sponsoring it, and that would cost them maybe $50 a month, and they get a link back. You can also sponsor charity events, maybe a dinner, maybe a conference, or a contest. And a few years ago, I had some WordPress themes created, like we were talking about before, and I put links in those WordPress themes, and they used to be a good way, but I wouldn't do that so much anymore. I haven't done that much. So it's not only about getting links to your homepage. Deep links into your content are quite important as well. And one way you can do that is through marketing your content. I use a website called blogcarnival.com, and what that does is a lot of blogs feature content every week or every month, and they allow you to submit your best articles, your best blog posts, and normally it's quite a good conversion rate of getting links. It's a bit similar to guest posting as well. This is where you write a post or an article and you put it on another blog. And that's a great way of getting traffic and getting followers to your website, not just links. There's a couple of other techniques in here as well. Some people don't like comments, spamming or comment links, but I think if you do it in the right way, it can be a good way to engage with influencers within your niche. There's a plugin called Comment Love, which is put on some people's websites, which enable you to leave a comment, and I only suggest leaving comments that are relevant to the article, and then you get a link back to your latest blog post. Other things you can do is interviews with influencers or people within your niche. Another thing that works really well is giving away free things. I find bloggers really love to review products and get free products, and normally results in a lot of links. So, in conclusion, it's about creating great websites and creating great content that will engage and cause a reaction in people, and not just creating that content, but marketing that content. It's a bit like that saying: if a tree falls in the forest but no one's there to hear it make a noise, does it actually make a noise? The same is true, I think, in the internet. If you create content but no one's there to link to it, is anyone going to hear what you have to say? And I say no, because Google's not going to rank you, and no one's going to see it. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Could you drill down just a little further as to what you do with the directories, how that works?
Sure. So the directories that I mentioned, you just go to them, the ones I mentioned there, and there'll be a submit button, and you just press on that, and then they'll ask for various information about your site, your maybe description, the keywords, what else, the URL, and maybe your name and contact information, and just pay the money, and you tend to just get a link pretty quickly. It's straightforward. Is there someone else?
I was gonna get your take on microsites. So if you have a site, a site in X industry, and you've got additional content, what would your take be on adding that new content to your existing site, and or spinning that content on a microsite with a different URL and then pointing that back to your website?
I find if you have microsites, you tend to dilute the link equity. I'd rather have one website that has all the authority compared to, say, 10 websites where it's divided, the link juice is divided between those 10 websites. So, I mean, it's a strategy that some people use, and I do actually use it around exact match domain. So if I can find an exact match domain, I'll buy that, and then the bonus that you get from that is enough of a benefit, I find, to then create a standalone site. So it can work in some strategies, and that's my strategy behind it, but overall, I find it's better to consolidate the link equity as much as you can.
So the three things you didn't comment on.
Three?
sorry, I didn't call you out.
That's all that's you.
Google Places, video, and Google Plus.
Oh, I mean, we can do a topic on each of those, really. I mean, I think we have as well. But to be honest, I don't really know that much about Places. Video, I think we've got some guys here that do video, but again, I haven't really done that much myself. And what was the other one? Plus one.
Google Plus.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't seen that much of a ranking factor in the plus ones. I think Google will use that to find a web page and to index it, but so far I haven't seen much of an influence on rankings. What I have noticed is that obviously it has an effect on the number of people that see your website in the circles, but I think it might have an effect in the future. So what I do is I just include the widgets on my website, because I think it's good to future-proof for those kind of things anyway.
In my Google Analytics, it's not in the Google Analytics tool, but it's in the Webmaster Tools in Google. They actually now show supposed boost in your ranking based on your plus one.
Oh, really?
So, I can't imagine that's got a lot of weight at this point.
That's what I've noticed myself.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, my understanding is they use it primarily as a differentiator,
Yeah.
And then adjust the algorithm, not as a site ranking factor by itself.
Definitely. Bruce, do you have a question?
Yeah, Google came to Manassas and gave a big presentation with Doug and everything. And the guy said they have plans to use Google Plus to influence your organic results.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know how.
Google Plus is social network as opposed to plus one button.
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry, the plus one button.
Plus one
Plus
button.
one button, yeah.
Well, that's full-time thing.
Well, maybe I think we're all going to meet up at the end to go into the barbecue. So if anyone has any questions,
Just relating to the link building, these sites that people are eager to get links from, some of them are gonna use the no follow. So what's the percent, how popular is that?
how popular is it, or how much of an effect?
I mean, is it an exception to see a site with no follow, or is it, that's a way to get away from spam, right? So basically, no follow link will say, whoever's linking from me, it talks to the search engine, says, don't give them any.
Yeah, so a no-follow link is, and actually you can add to a link if you don't want to give that link any credit when you're linking to it. And then it shouldn't have an effect on the rankings. I tend to not go for no-follow links. I mean, I think every link profile should have some no-follow links, but it doesn't really have much of an effect on rankings from what I found, so I don't tend to.
You know, I mean, what I'm saying is these blog sites, do they usually practice the no-follow heavily, or?
Like some blogs do, the ones that get spammed a lot, but I wouldn't target the ones that only give no-follow links because it's not going to have an effect on the rankings.
So by default, WordPress is set up so that comment links are no follow. So someone has to like install a plugin, a do follow plugin that negates that. There are also directory sites that will put your links through a 302 redirect instead of like putting a no follow on it. And if they do that, you also don't get any page rank or anchor text value out of those. So, you know, that's another thing to look for.
So I think we've got quite a few more presentations. So if anyone has any more questions, then afterwards we're going to Rockland's, a barbecue place, and I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Thanks, Dave. That was really good. And again, for today's presentations, I really only gave the speakers 10 minutes, so it's really not enough time to do any of these topics justice. But we'll, you know, some of the more, if you guys can give feedback, some of the presentations that you guys want to drill down into deeper, we can definitely make the topics for 2012. So this next, a couple meetups ago, we started doing our site reviews. So we asked for people to submit their websites, and then we, as a group, kind of went in and gave our feedback. It's a little tough and to be in that hot seat, but one of our good friends here, Mark, actually couldn't make it. He was going to be on the panel, but couldn't make it. So I just thought it was really neat. I think some of you guys have already seen this site, but it was just really cool. And we didn't have sound the last time we met, so I promised I would play it this time. But another thing that this brings up is that, I mean, for those of you guys that are actually in the business, I know a couple people that are doing search engine optimization and Google AdWords or have their own consultancy. I just thought this is a pretty cool way. If you're responding to an RFP, how cool would it be to do something like this to respond versus just giving the same old regular, you know, emailing up a proposal. So, want to play this?
And if you do it, put the correct date.
We're here at the bartending school in Arlington. We founded in person, but tonight we're going to talk about some options you have for finding it on Google. Now, I'm sorry I can't be here tonight, but my wife and I need to go meet our kids' teachers at back to school night, which is over here. But that doesn't mean I can't participate in the panel. So with this video, we're going to take a look at bartending-school.com. Let's take a look at the site overall. I like that the first thing I see are real working